Oh snap, there was a bass right there. Okay, I like the way this is going. What's up everybody? I gotta work a couple hours, so that's why I'm in my gym clothes. Just got back from the gym. I have myself the Stanley jig with the Hallie crawl. Come on, get off the skirt. This is what we're gonna try to catch them with. It's 60 degrees. This is the warmest day we've had in Indiana yet this year. And I just walked up on the dock and spooked a bass out. Let's see if we can catch a bass in shallow water in early March on a jig. Fine, first fish of 2021. Look at that. Ooh, he got that red mouth. Oh yeah, of course, got to show that the Hallie crawl, the Stanley jig, up in that mouth, son. Ooh, got that bright red mouth going on. That was about maybe 3 feet of water. Kind of out here towards the middle, but there's a big hump. That's maybe 3 feet of water. You have it, see? Caught me slipping, playing on my phone. Looking at work emails, Stanley jig, Hallie crawl, largemouth bass. Oh, I didn't take a picture. What's up everybody? Welcome back to the Monster Bass channel. I am Brad with Shield Outdoors. Today, we're gonna have a little bit of a talk about shallow jig fishing. Let's go. Before we get too far, comment below your favorite jig trailer. I don't care what it is. Comment below your favorite jig trailer of all time. And while you're floating around the page doing that, make sure you subscribe, the little red button right below this video, and make sure you like the video. And then after this video, go check out some of the other videos on the Monster Bass channel, or if you're feeling so kind, you can go to the Shield Outdoors channel, check out some of my content, and like, comment, subscribe over there. So shallow jig fishing. So I have my paper here. I got the who, what, when, where, and why, and how basics of jig fishing shallow. Now, we're gonna actually kind of go out of the order of the who, what, when, where, why. We're gonna start with the why. The benefits. Let's talk about the benefits of fishing shallow. So I have a video right here on the Monster Bass channel about dock fishing. And in that video, I talk about how you don't need graphs. If you're shallow fishing and you're fishing targets that you can see from above the water, you don't have to worry about expensive electronics. You don't have to worry about graphs. You don't even need a boat. So jig fishing shallow water, you could fish from the shore. You could fish from a dock, a kayak, a little boat, inexpensive boat. You could be wherever you want, but when you're fishing targets that are above the water or just below the surface of the water, you don't have to worry about all those electronics. And it's a really nice way to learn how to fish those kind of targets. So if you want to learn how to fish a rock pile or submerged timber, logs, sticks, why not start with the ones you can see? You can see the way your lure reacts going over them. You can see the way the fish like to hit it, especially if you have clear water. Get yourself some nice polarized glasses. So shallow jig fishing is a really good way to learn how the fish are hitting and what they're hitting. And along that same line of thought, when you can see the way the fish are reacting, you might be able to transition. So maybe the jigs aren't what they want. Maybe they're more finessey. Maybe they want something real subtle. Maybe they want a drop shot, or maybe they want a Ned rig, or maybe they're hitting your lure when you're reeling in fast, when you're bringing it back to the boat or the kayak or back to wherever you're standing. Maybe they're hitting it when you're reeling it in. Maybe you need to go with something faster, a bladed jig, a crankbait, whatever you need to do. But what I'm getting at is shallow water, in my opinion, is a lot easier to learn what you need to transition to, and it's great for learning fish behavior, especially if you can see your fish. Who can learn to shallow jig fish? Absolutely anybody. The most brand new fishermen out there using a push button Spider-Man rod, they can learn to use a jig. An old gentleman, an old grandma, anybody can go out and learn to jig fish. I don't care who you are, I don't care how much experience you have, you can learn it. You can do it, and you can hook a big bass by doing it. Even a YouTuber like myself can learn how to jig fish. I know, it's crazy. So let's talk about the what. What kind of jig am I talking about? So today's video, I'm talking specifically about the Stanley jig. I love the way that the curvature of the head is set up. I like the way that the eyelid is placed. So with a Stanley jig and a jig that's set up in this manner, I can use a buoyant trailer or a floating craw type trailer to get a straight up and down motion, kind of like a Ned rig, or I can kind of swim it. I can put a Jean LaRue craw in the back and let those little craws flap around. Now there's something special about the Stanley jig, and there's something special about the Monster Bass March bag, because it's not a box anymore. We have bags, the better bag. The March bag is all lures that have won the Bassmaster Classic. That's right, every single lure inside the March bag is a lure that has won somebody a lot of money. A la mula. The Stanley jig is a proven lure, has been proven to catch fish and proven to make money. So that's why I selected that lure for this video. Now Brad, let's talk about the win. It's early March. Why are you making this video, Brad? Your ice just melted. Yes, slow down, take it easy on me. I wanted this video live and rip and roaring on the Monster Bass channel, so that way when you're ready to fish shallow, it's already up and you're already ready to watch it, or maybe you already have the information in your mind. So I know it's a little bit early for a lot of the northern states, but you boys down south, I know you guys are already hooking them. You guys are already catching some giants. But for those of us up north, we're not ready to fish shallows yet, but I wanted this video out there so when you are ready, the information is there and we can help push you towards your PB. Back to the win. When are you gonna do this? Whenever the fish are shallow. As soon as your fish come shallow, this will work from the time they come shallow until they go back deep in wintertime. So spring, bed fishing, spawn fishing, target fishing docks in the heat of the summer when they're up underneath shadows and they're getting into drains, under trees, under timber, anything like that. Anytime you can catch a fish shallow, you can be using a jig. And a lot of people are going to think, well, it needs to be like a finesse approach. It doesn't always have to be a finesse approach. It doesn't always have to be in the shade. It doesn't always have to be by a pole. There's so much variety to jig fishing, shallow water. I know it seems such a narrow-minded idea, but it's very broad, and there's so many options, and there's so many fish to be caught doing it. So let's talk about the where. We kind of talked about targets already, above water targets. You can jig fish shallow bass anywhere. I don't care if you're on a dock that's 10 feet off the shoreline and you're parallel casting down the shore. The docks, poles, something that the fish might relate to. So imagine when it's sunny and you want to get in the shade, you want to get up underneath docks, you want to get up against poles, up against logs, sticks, brush, timber, anything that's going to create a shadow. If you're one of my retention pond fishermen, if you live in a neighborhood and you fish retention ponds, find anomalies. Anomalies are anything that's different than the norm. These retention ponds are so bland, right? They're all manicured grass shoreline with nothing. But if you have 1 yard that has rock going into the water, that's an anomaly. If you have a drain coming into the water, if you have a tree overhanging, if you have some kind of tree that's fallen into the water, those are anomalies. Those are perfect targets to hit with a jig. They're perfect targets with just about any kind of lure, but jig fishing, when you can really pick apart that debris, because those are going to be high probability areas. Now for my urban fishermen, shopping carts, a bridge, anything that's different, right? Shopping carts, that's right. If you find a shopping cart dumped in a pond or in the river, fish around it. It's a perfect bait cage. The bait fish can go in and out of there. Bass will relate to it. They'll sit up against it. I'm telling you guys, PBs are going to be caught next to shopping carts. I'm telling you. Go out and find a shopping cart. In fact, if you can catch a bass and take a picture next to a shopping cart in the water, Monster Bass will share it on their Instagram. I promise you, I will hold to that. Tag me in it, tag Monster Bass. Go out and catch a bass by a shopping cart. If you're on a shad lake, go up underneath them docks with white jigs. It's a highly, highly, highly overlooked technique. White jigs under docks. I'm telling you, everybody wants to throw a chatterbait. Everybody wants to throw a square bill. You don't see many people throwing an all white jig. I'm just throwing it out there. That's just our little secret, okay? You guys go out there and use it. All right, the neighbor's dog's going crazy. The geese are going crazy. There's airplanes in the sky. I gotta get out of here. 3-year-old wants to go to Cabela's, and who can argue with that? I gotta go buy some more rods and reels. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Make sure you comment below. Make sure you check out the Monster Bass channel. Drop comments below if you have any questions, but make sure you let me know what your favorite jig trailer is. Thanks so much for being here. Peace.